So if joy hasn't disappeared, and if it's rooted in God's presence, then the question becomes, how do we begin to uncover it again? How do we hear the melody of joy again? Lent gives us a really simple starting point. It gives us space to pause and to notice where our attention has drifted. Because over time, it's very easy for our focus to shift. Not always toward negative things, often towards good things, and then responsibilities and pressures and other things that genuinely matter in our lives. But slowly, almost without realizing it, as our attention can move away from the joy of the Lord. And when that happens, life with God, or more accurately without God, can start to feel a little joyless. Not because God has gone anywhere, but because we're no longer really paying attention to his presence. The invitation from God is actually very simple. It's not to try harder. It's not to fix everything. It's not to manufacture joy. The invitation is to return our attention to him, the source of all joy. Jesus gives us a clear picture of this in John 15, verses 4-5. Remain in me, as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. A branch produces fruit by remaining connected to the vine. It doesn't strain, it doesn't force it, it simply stays connected. And in the same way, as we turn our attention back to God, as we remain with him, the Spirit begins to bring that hidden joy back into view. Not always suddenly, but steadily, as we stay rooted in God's presence. And as that joy begins to surface again, it doesn't just stay hidden within us. It starts to shape how we live, how we respond, how we carry ourselves, how we love others. So the invitation this morning is not complicated. It's simply this. Where might God be inviting you to return your attention to him? And as you think about that, it might be helpful to ask a couple of other honest questions. Where might your understanding of joy have become shaped more by your circumstances than by your relationship with God? When joy feels distant or hidden, how do you tend to respond? And what might it look like, not to try harder to find joy, but to gently return your attention to God? Each week in this series, we've been sharing a short testimony in response to a question. Now, Karen very kindly prepared something for today, but unfortunately she's not been able to be with us. I just wanted to acknowledge that she'd written something and prepared something. So instead, I'm going to share this question with you. Can you think of a time when joy was rediscovered, not because circumstances changed, but because your focus returned to God? Because the promise we see in Scripture is this: as we turn back to him, as we remain with him, the Spirit begins to restore the joy that has become hidden. So perhaps the final question, lots of questions this morning, so perhaps the final question to hold on to is this: what small, honest step could help you become more aware of God's presence this week and begin to rediscover his joy?